What if Squid Game wasn't just a story? Imagine finding strange photos online. Kids in blue-striped uniforms, faces blurred, each with a number. At first, everyone thought they were fake, but as people looked closer, the line between fiction and reality started to blur. Some believe the show is based on true events, but the truth is even darker. In 1980s South Korea, thousands of children vanished into a place called the Brothers Welfare Center, a so-called rehabilitation facility hiding terrible secrets. Stay with me, because what happened there is more chilling than any game you've seen on TV. Hi everyone, I just want to say thank you so much for all your amazing engagement and support on the last video. Your comments and interaction really mean a lot to me. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you found us. This is Beyond the Crime, a channel where we talk about everything mysterious and exciting, true crime, strange cases, and stories that keep you guessing. If you enjoy these kinds of stories, join our family and subscribe so you don't miss anything. We're happy to have you with us. Let's start with today's story. In Busan, South Korea, 1982. A 12-year-old boy named Jung was walking home, looking after his sick mother, when a policeman stopped him. "Come with me," the officer said. "I'll take you to the station. We'll find your family." Jung never made it home. Neither did Choi, a 14-year-old accused of stealing bread, or Young-sung, 15, snatched from a train station, or little Park Sun-yi, just 7, waiting for her brother. They vanished, along with thousands of others. The pattern was always the same. Police would round people up, homeless, children, disabled, even random bystanders, force them into vans and drive them to a compound hidden deep in the forest, a place surrounded by 7-meter-high concrete walls, gates that only opened from the outside. Just like the Squid Game facility. Inside, they were stripped of their identities, names replaced by numbers, heads shaved, forced into blue-striped uniforms. And the rules? Absolute silence. No questions, no protests, punished for even a whisper. Survivors later described it as a hierarchy of fear. Prisoners were organized into platoons of 80 to 100 people. If one person broke a rule, everyone suffered. Beatings with baseball bats, starvation rations, forced labor in on-site factories, children hauling stones, sewing uniforms, working 16-hour shifts. The next morning, the children woke up in crowded rooms, lined up in the yard, and saw thousands of people, elderly, women, even kids younger than 7, all wearing the same uniform. Guards stood in rows watching every move. If you made a mistake during the morning drill or anthem, you were punished in front of everyone. The fear was constant. The center was made up of 20 factories, a church, and other buildings. The church, which looked innocent from the outside, was actually the most feared place inside. The Brothers Welfare Center was supposed to be a place for rehabilitation, a safe space for the homeless, the poor, and those with nowhere else to go. But in reality, it was a prison. After the Korean War, many people flocked to cities like Busan, hoping for a better life. The government, eager to clean up the streets before the 1988 Olympics, began rounding up anyone they considered undesirable. Police were given bonuses for every person they brought in. Soon, not just the homeless, but anyone. Children on their way home from school, people sleeping outside, even those with homes could be taken away. Most of those brought in weren't even homeless. Only about 10% were actually living on the streets. The rest? Innocent people caught in a system that rewarded officers for filling up the center. Families often never heard from their loved ones again. Once inside, you lost your name and your freedom. The guards enforced the rules with violence. If one person made a mistake, everyone in their group was punished. The fear of collective punishment kept everyone silent. Choi, one of the survivors, later described how every day his body was covered in bruises from beatings. He remembered seeing a man beaten so badly for asking, "Why are we here?" that he was sure the man died right there. No one dared ask questions. No one dared resist. There were separate platoons for women, and survivors said many women became pregnant because of the guards. When this happened, doctors would come and give them mysterious injections, and within days the problem would disappear. Children, too, suffered daily abuse. Choi himself endured 5 years of torment, starting from the day he arrived at age 14. Punishments and abuse were carried out in front of everyone to instill fear. The guards themselves were often former victims who had been promoted for their obedience and willingness to enforce the rules. Even as guards, they were punished if their group made a mistake. This created a pyramid of fear and cruelty. No one was safe, not even those in charge. The people inside built the very place that imprisoned them. Survivors recalled carrying heavy stones and constructing buildings with their bare hands. If someone collapsed from exhaustion, they could be killed on the spot. The parallels to Squid Game became even clearer. The bodies of those who died were sometimes sold to hospitals for medical training, just as the show depicted in its own way. The Brothers Welfare Center was a money-making machine. The government paid the center for every person it housed, supposedly to provide food and care. But the reality was different. Food was scarce. Instead of feeding 3,000 people, food for only 2,000 would be provided, and the rest of the money would go into the pockets of those running the center. Everyone became thin and malnourished. Records later showed that the center bought large quantities of chlorpromazine, an antipsychotic drug. Survivors said the drug was mixed into their food to keep them docile. Over time, this led to severe side effects, including paralysis. There was even a group called the Zombies, people with disabilities who were given so much medication they shuffled around like the living dead. The man behind all of this was Park In-kyun, a former soldier and boxer. Survivors described him as a dictator, ruling the center with absolute power. He ran the place with his wife, her brother, the church pastor, and other relatives. In promotional videos, Park appeared friendly and humble, sharing meals with residents. But behind the scenes, he was building a fortune from their suffering. The church was not just a place of worship. It was the site of the court, where anyone caught trying to escape faced the greatest sin. If you tried to run and were caught, you'd be brought before the court, forced to wear a red robe that said, "I am guilty," and beaten in front of everyone. One survivor tried to escape 12 times and was punished each time, but he never gave up hope. The government turned a blind eye to what was happening. They funded the center, believing it was helping society. Television ads showed happy residents learning trades, but these were staged under threat. The real purpose was to attract donations, which poured in from people who never knew the truth. One of the most haunting stories came from Young, the boy taken at age 12. 2 years after arriving, he saw his own father brought in as a new prisoner. His father had spent years searching for him, going from police station to police station, until he was finally picked up and sent to the same place. When Young saw his father, he didn't feel joy, he felt shame. They both knew what had happened to them inside those walls. The trauma didn't end when people left. Many survivors suffered lifelong injuries, both physical and psychological. Some were left paralyzed. Most never finished school or found stable work. The stigma followed them everywhere. For many, the pain was too much to bear. The official death toll at the Brothers Welfare Center was at least 657. But survivors believe the real number is much higher. Bodies were disposed of quietly, and records were often incomplete. So, was Squid Game inspired by this? The uniforms, the numbers, the forced labor, the dehumanizing violence. The evidence is hard to ignore. The creator's denial might be a way to avoid reopening old wounds. Because the Brothers Welfare Center wasn't fiction, it was a real-life arena where humanity was the price of greed. A game no one signed up for, with no prize but survival. For the survivors, the trauma never faded, but their courage in speaking out, that's the real victory. Some games shouldn't be played, and some truths shouldn't stay buried. Let me know your opinion in the comments. This channel is still new, and YouTube isn't spreading our videos yet. If you want more stories like this, please subscribe to Beyond the Crime and help us reach more people. Your support truly means the world. And here is another mysterious cases you can watch now. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching.